All right, welcome back, everyone. So I was reading and I found this online, and it's about football. And I wanted to ask your opinion on this. Do you believe college players in the NCAA should get paid for playing football?
Um, I feel like I feel like they should. They're playing a rough sport, physical sport, and you don't I know they need money for food. You know what I mean? I've heard a couple stories where they sold stuff on the side. You know what I mean? Autographs and jerseys and stuff like that, signed jerseys and stuff like that, just to make a few extra bucks for clothes or food, something like that. So yeah, I feel like they should get paid.
All right, let me answer that too. I don't, because there've been studies where they would have to sign a contract similar to every sports profession, but they'd have to sign a contract, meaning it would get taxed. And most likely it'd be a 4-year deal for $100,000. Because let's just use that as an example because it's a nice round number. Um, but they'd have to pay taxes and for all of it. And right now with their tuition, they get a full ride. And it's been calculated that a 4-year deal at $100,000 after taxes, they only get $100 for their entire college career to spend. Whereas getting a tuition, they get a full ride. They get to play the game they love and are working hard at, and they could get other jobs and have money for other things instead of just a measly $100 that won't last 4 years. All right, speaking of info, um, do you believe that the way NFL players act and hold out affects the future generations and younger generations in a negative aspect?
No, I don't believe anyone, holding out to make more money to better their families is necessarily a negative thing. I think if anybody, wants to make more money in their business, um, there's certain ways of doing it. And that's just the way the NFL does it. That's how their agents tell them to do it. Hey, sit out. You're gonna get fined, but we'll make it back up in bonuses. Um, Go ahead and sit out until we resolve this issue.
All right, let me use a recent example in Joey Bosa. He set out for the first 5 weeks from the Chargers for contract language and how much money he was receiving. The contract that they offered him was going to be already the second most out of any player aside from Philadelphia's quarterback Carson Wentz, who was making more money due to how their taxes are in in Pennsylvania compared to California. But afterwards, now he's like right there on par with him. You know, I think if a kid sees that, or if a kid sees a player being a diva about it, causing a fuss in the locker room, not being a team player, going into business for himself, that's a bad influence. I wouldn't want my children to act like some of these NFL players do. I expected them to when they were 2 years old, 3 years old, but now I don't think so. Okay, last question that I came across was, do you believe the NFL players are being paid too much? And if they are, how would you fix it? And if not, why? And what could you do to make the community around it a better place, a safer place?
Mm, um, I believe that just because it's the sport, we shouldn't be taxing them. Yeah, it's entertainment, but if we feel like we need to tax the players to give back to the community, so we might as well just, give. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to go ahead and start taxing people just because it's a sport. I don't believe they should be making the communities better. They do enough stuff in the community to help their communities. That's what taxes are for.
And I agree. Players they do a lot. That's why they have the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, because they work through their own individual charities. But I think even if it was a small tax, anywhere from 1% to 5%, if they're more focused, which they all say they are, they're more focused on winning a Super Bowl, they're more focused on playing the game they love. So let's move on to a different one.